Something was in our house that night. This is a story my grandpa has told my whole life, and it happened way before I was born. I've heard it enough times that the details are burned into my brain. Back when my mom and aunts were kids, they were coming home one night after visiting my grandpa's brother. When they pulled into the driveway, my grandpa noticed the back door of the house was slightly open. That was weird because they always made sure the doors were locked. Right away, he told my grandma and the kids to stay in the car. He grabbed his pistol and went inside to check. He said it was dark inside, and he had only walked a little way in when he saw something. At first, he thought it was a big cat, like way bigger than a normal house cat. But the more he looked at it, the more it didn't look like any kind of cat or animal he recognized. He always says it was pitch black, like it didn't reflect light at all, just a solid dark shape. Then it charged at him, and he shot it at point-blank range. He was a good shot, and he was close enough that he should have hit it. But whatever it was, it didn't even flinch. It just ran right past him and out the back door. Outside, my grandma, my mom, and my aunts all saw it run out too. They all described seeing a dark, large shape take off into the night. After making sure they were okay, he searched the house again, but he couldn't find anything. No blood where he shot it, nothing broken or knocked over. The next morning, he went outside to look for a blood trail or tracks, and there was absolutely nothing. My grandpa isn't the type to make up stories or exaggerate. He's a very straightforward, old-school say-it-like-it-is kind of guy. To this day, he says he has no idea what that thing was, but he knows it wasn't like any animal he'd ever seen. But I'm curious, has anyone else ever seen or heard of something like this? My husband threw away my dolls. It was another crappy day at my crappy job, and all I wanted was to go home and relax in my happy place. I walked into my room. What the fuck? I went to the living room. Where are they? Oh, my husband replied, do you mean your dolls? Yes, Nick, I mean my dolls. What the fuck did you do? You're too old to have a room full of dolls. I've been telling you this, but you weren't listening, so I threw them out. You threw them out. Yes, now you can get over them and grow up. Trust me, you'll feel so much better without children's toys holding you back. You know what those dolls mean to me. They're my last connection with Mom. I get it, I lost my father young, but I'm a grown-up. I grieved and moved on. You will too. Now you're mansplaining grief to me, you arrogant, condescending asshole. I'll let that go because I know it's your anger speaking. Where are they? They're gone. Move on, honey. I know you think you're upset now, but you'll thank me later. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. Fuck you. It's okay, honey, I forgive you. I walked out and slammed the door. How dare he get rid of the dolls I collected with my dead mother. That fucking asshole, but I couldn't think about him now. I had to find my dolls. I drove around scanning every trash can, every dumpster. I called every hospital, every orphanage, every toy store. Finally, I checked the town dump. Later that night, Nick awoke with a start. Honey, what's going on? Why are you sitting there in the dark? I was just remembering what? A lot of things when my mom was alive, and we used to sit, playing with dolls while she taught me about life. How much those times meant to me. When we first met, I actually thought I could share them with you. I was so happy. I only regretted that my mom hadn't lived to meet you. She'd be so disgusted with you now. Is this about your dolls? It's about the complete disrespect you've shown us. I've been thinking, and I just don't think it's something I can get past. So you're leaving me? I don't think I'll need to. What do you, Maya? As he spoke, he turned on his bedside lamp. And then he saw them, hundreds of dolls, blanketing the floor, the walls, the ceiling, the bed, all staring at him murderously. As he lay there, frozen, a dozen dolls moved to hold him down. Then one doll crawled up the bed toward him, holding a knife. It stared at him hatefully as it raised the knife above his chest. Remember when I said my mom would be disgusted with you? She wanted to show you how much. The knife plunged into his chest. It's okay, honey, I forgive you. Something was walking under my room, but the cops said the house was empty. I've never posted anything like this before, and honestly, I'm not sure why I'm doing it now. Maybe I just need to get it off my chest, because it's been stuck in my head for years. When I was about 15, my parents both worked late. I'd get home from school, make myself dinner, and hang out alone until around midnight. It never bothered me, and I actually liked it. I could play music, watch movies, and do whatever I wanted. We lived in an old house, built sometime in the 1920s. You could always hear it breathing, the floors creaked, the pipes groaned, the wind got in through the cracks. It was just part of the background noise. That Friday night, my parents went to a late movie. They told me not to stay up too late. I laughed and said, yeah, sure. Around 11 p.m., I was upstairs in my room listening to music with my headphones on. The rest of the house was dark. At one point, I took the headphones off, and I still remember how quiet everything was. And then I heard it thump. It came from downstairs. It wasn't a pop or a creak, it was a step that felt heavy and solid. I froze, then another one thump. It was slow and careful, like whoever it was trying to move quietly. Our living room was right under my room, and the sound was coming from there. I sat completely still, straining to hear. The steps moved across the floor from the kitchen through the living room and stopped right below me. I remember my hands shaking as I grabbed my phone and texted my mom. A few seconds passed, no reply, then my phone buzzed. I could feel my heart pounding so hard it hurt. If they weren't home, then who the hell was in my house? Before I could type back, a new sound started, and it was a long, slow dragging noise, like heavy wood being pulled across the floor. It took me a second to realize what it was. One of our oak dining chairs. I could picture it in my head, someone dragging it slowly away from the table. I locked my bedroom door and crawled into my closet with my phone. I called 911 and whispered that someone was in my house. The operator told me to stay on the line, stay quiet, and wait for the police. I sat there in the dark, barely breathing. Every tiny sound made my whole body tense up, the fridge, the wind outside, even the hum of my computer. After what felt like forever, I heard banging on the front door. The dispatcher told me it was safe. I ran downstairs and opened the door. 2 officers came in, flashlights out, checking every room, the basement, attic, closets, even behind the curtains. They found nothing, no open doors, no broken windows, nothing missing. When my parents got home and my dad was mad, he said the house was just old, that I scared myself with ghost stories and YouTube videos. I wanted to believe him, and I really did. The next morning, I went downstairs for breakfast, still kind of embarrassed about the whole thing. But when I walked into the living room, I stopped. The heavy oak chair, the one from the dining table, wasn't where it should have been. It had been dragged into the middle of the living room, right under my bedroom, and it was turned to face the stairs. I didn't sleep properly for weeks after that. Even now, when my house creaks at night, my stomach drops like I'm 15 again, waiting for that sound to start all over. Abandoned grocery shop. When I was 15, I went into an abandoned grocery store. It was very dark inside the building, and I only had my phone flashlight. So it was a bit unnerving, and all sorts of weird machinery sounds, and to be honest, I didn't have a clue where those sounds were coming from. I went looking in different rooms, and then in one room I found an electrical panel. Me being impulsive thought, great, I wonder if I can get the lights working. So I saw this big lever, and I thought it was the main breaker switch. I pulled the lever, and I'm not joking when I say this. It exploded, knocked me back at least 4 to 5 meters. The bang it made was like a firework going off in my face. The reason I'm posting this is because I sort of just brushed it off. Well, today I found out about arc flashes, and it looks exactly like what happened to me. I also noticed afterwards that there was a sign that said 800 volts 30 amps, and I was just thinking about how lucky I was to not have any injuries. I looked up arc flashes injuries, and let's just say that I'm lucky I'm not disfigured. I cannot breathe, and they're watching. The last positive memory I can recall is 6 weeks ago, participating in my college 200-meter race against several Division I colleges in my state. Nothing in life has brought me joy quite like swimming. Not even my first kiss or being accepted to college has given me such a rush. That first dive, pushing off, and feeling the water gush past me while I move almost with it, like we're woven together. It's strange how fast a great day can turn. I'd raced several times that day and took home a bronze and silver medal. My parents were so proud, and we decided to go out for dinner to celebrate. They'd always been my biggest supporters, even moving states when I was accepted to this college so they could watch me swim. Driving to a surprise restaurant that I assumed was secretly my favorite sushi speed train. I stared out the backseat window while my mom and dad talked about things I can't recall, though I wish I'd listened. I watched buildings and trees, people walking and shopping, an ordinary city full of life and color. I'd always loved observing people in passing, imagining their stories from a glimpse. Then my eyes caught a woman standing near the road staring toward us. She looked terrified and her mouth hung low, eyes wide like something was draining her soul. It chilled me. When I turned back for another look, we'd already passed her. My parents hadn't seen her and told me I must be overtired, lecturing me about staying out late at college parties. But I couldn't shake it, and I kept watching through the window, and to my horror, more people began to make that same face, some all at once. I panicked, and my parents still saw nothing and told me to calm down, but that's when the voices began screaming in my head. I couldn't hear my parents anymore, only the faces, only the noise. The car sped up. Maybe Dad was rushing to a hospital. I shut my eyes and covered my ears until we made impact. I jolted forward with a force I didn't think possible. My stomach dropped, chest squeezed, and neck choked. Everything faded to darkness. I was in a coma for 5 weeks. The police said my dad ran a red light, and we were hit by a truck that lost control on the wet freeway at 98 kilometers per hour. Both my parents died. The car was practically ripped in half. 3 other cars were involved. My body was impaled by metal from one of them, damaging my lungs so severely that I'll need a transplant. Until then, I'm on an ECMO machine that oxygenates my blood to keep me alive. Now I'm trapped in this broken body, unable to talk, eat, or stay awake for long. I miss their funeral. I keep seeing those faces on the doctors, the nurses, even my relatives. And when I sleep, I dream of drowning, being held down by someone with that same hollow stare. I don't know what's happening to me, but I need help.